y'all. So, you enjoy my solo travel episode. So, I've got another one for you today. And today we're going to talk with my good friend Aurelio Giordano. He's such a gorgeous Italian man, but he also has his own travel agency. He is the owner of that travel agency, and he's a worldwide travel specialist of the award-winning Ace World Travel located in Brooklyn, New York. Now, over the past 13 years in the travel industry, Aurelio has spoken on panels and across the globe, including twice at the New York Times Travel Show. He's been featured in a dozen trade and consumer travel publications, both online and in print. And although he has traveled, y'all, check this out, over 60 times across 5 continents. I can't believe I have a friend who's done that. Getting on a plane, he says, or a boat and stepping foot in a new destination remains just as exciting as ever. And I tell you, Aurelio and I talk, and we have so much fun sharing stories about travel. And I can't believe he gets just as excited as me. So listen, I'm so excited about this episode because both of us are going to get to hear some wonderful suggestions for travel, solo travel. You don't just have to be a woman. You can be a guy too, which Aurelio is going to share with us. But y'all, I'm really excited because we love to talk travel, and you do too. So tune in, go and get you something cold or hot to drink, and come and join us as we have this wonderful conversation about some exciting, surprising places to go for solo travel with Ro.
It's Ro time.
Welcome to Rolonda On Demand.
I love my podcast because we not only tackle the tough issues of the day, but we deal with hot topics, celebrity interviews, and information that can help you in your business or relationships.
This is Rolonda On Demand.
You meet so many people. You meet so many like-minded people, because if you're going to a jazz festival in St. Lucia, you're going to meet other jazz enthusiasts. And who knows what can come of that, right? You might meet your next best friend, or you might meet your next lover, or anyone for that matter.
Well, I love that you're bringing out the point that, it's not only just the beaches. Everybody knows I'm the beach bum, but there's so many other things that draw you to a new destination. A lot of it are the festivals, like Nevis, where I just was. It brags of their great mango festival, and everybody has their own festival. But also just to be able to travel places and be able to go to like when I went to Key West and traveled alone. And I went there for the beautiful turquoise waters. I was a little disappointed about the beaches because they're mostly rocky. But what I discovered, like in a crazy way I didn't even expect, was that there are festivals there, like the Ernest Hemingway Festival. Now, I'm a writer, and I love Ernest Hemingway. So I took the book, I wanted to read, so I took The Old Man and the Sea with me, and I was down there, and as a writer, I got to go and I got to see how he stood up and he wrote all of his work, and his 9 foot in his pool that looked like an ocean, and the 6-toed cats. I mean, I just got to immerse myself in something that was so unusually normal for me, but something that I was really interested in. And that means that you didn't have to bring all your girlfriends and guy friends with you. That's a solo thing. That's kind of like really tapping into my desire to be a writer and to learn more about the writers I love. Now, not everybody's going to go on that trip with you, but it was wonderful that there was a festival that I could go to alone. I would still be around like-minded, like-hearted people, could still meet people on my solo trip and learn something too and be inspired in my craft.
Absolutely. Funny you mentioned Hemingway. I did something similarly with Oscar Wilde in London.
Whoa!
And so, I mean, there's a colleague of mine that actually runs a company called Oscar Wilde Tours, and he's a former English professor and just like an absolute literary brainiac, and he runs these tours all over Europe and some other parts. He's even done some in India. And a lot of them, explore museums and explore art and history and literature and the people that not only created these masterpieces, but that influenced them. And his tours are a little bit more themed towards the LGBTQ community. So it's the stories behind the artwork, behind the literary masterpieces that have a connection to the community, whether Oscar Wilde, like we know, who was gay, and other people in history who might have influenced, real life works, sculptures, art, or anything like that. But just the point to say, and to your point as well, there is a festival for everything and anyone. We know the common types of music and art and food, but I mean, you can go to a knitting festival in Scotland, because they're known for their yarn, because of the amazing sheep and the quality of wool that they have. I can go on and on with the examples, but for those who are traveling solo, to attach their travel or the objective of their travel to the opportunity to explore a hobby or an interest, it just elevates that travel to another level. I'm a beach bum too. Put me on a hammock, put me up between two palm trees and leave me alone for the afternoon. But I also love to travel with a little bit of purpose and with a little bit of, being able to explore something I love. And when I travel by myself and I don't have to worry about being on anyone else's schedule and don't have to, not on a time crunch as to how long I want to spend staring at that painting or, engaging with whatever I'm engaging with, it's very self-serving and it's fulfilling too. And it feeds the soul, which is what travel does.
It was like when I remembered I traveled to India and I studied meditation, or to go to Miami and go to the famous Basel Art Festival.
Well, Basel, yeah, it happens every
Just
winter.
wonderful things to do on your own.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can, when I go to museums or I go through things of special interest, I love to be immersed in it. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to just like get into it. But then, like you say, afterwards, you can go to the bars, you can go to the restaurants, you can meet
Yeah.
people, but you can still use your time for yourself. I think it's so important. I don't know if that's been a boom in travel, that more and more people are doing solo traveling, but I have found it's been so beneficial for me personally. And I find that so many people, most of my followers are people who are over 40, and they're looking for new things. And we're all about reinventing the way we look at things. And we've certainly reinvented the way we're looking at travel.
I would say to all your listeners out there and people who are thinking about taking the plunge into the solo travel, do it. Do it. I mean, to quote Nike, just do it. Because life is short, and you don't know the impact or the influence that trip is going to have on you and how it might affect you. Like I said, the first time I traveled by myself, I went to Montreal when I was 25, and I went because there was a comedy festival called Just for Laughs. And it just opened me up. You would think, oh, well, how did a comedy festival impact your life? Well, because it told me that I can enjoy entertainment by myself. I can sit by myself. I can be in an audience by myself. I can, interact by myself. And now, I have no problem going to concerts by myself. I have no problem going to see shows and other types of theater by myself. 100%. A big, term that's being used now is experiential travel.
Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? That's cool.
Well, it's to piggyback on what we just mentioned about traveling to explore a hobby or an interest. It starts with that, but even just experiencing the life of the locals. If we talk about Italy, which is a favorite destination of many, it's like taking a cooking class or something like that. But the cooking class varies from every region from north to south because the cuisine is different.
That's right.
So you go from salty to sweet, to meat, vegetarian, seafood, everything in between. And it's the same when you're traveling for, like you said, you traveled for Hemingway. There are literary tours of so many different wonderful writers across the world in their native land.
Things like this force us to decide what it is we feel is important in life. Because I think so many people in my age group, we're starting to retire, we're getting to that stage in life, and most people are thinking about good travel and good food and just good experiences. Now, you are the man who's traveled everywhere, and you still get excited whether we're talking about boats or trains or river boats,
Yeah.
whatever. I want to hear at least five of your top places that you would tell me and my buddies, my friends who are listening, where should we go? Maybe places we haven't considered before.
You want the city life and just to explore everything in a hub of one place. London is one of my favorite cities.
Everybody says that. Now, wait a minute. I'm going to say, are you sure London isn't just New York with an accent?
Yeah, it might be.
I think it
I think that's
is.
the reaction, right? That's the reaction. You know why?
You
Because
can't, you can't make London better than New York, boo.
I
Even your
was just gonna
sign says
say
that.
the ghosts of New York were like, "Hey, what are you
New
talking about?
York
You're a
was like,
Brooklyn boy.
uh-uh,
Uh-uh.
uh-uh.
How dare you?"
No, no, no,
I know I
no,
have to be careful, right? As a Brooklyn boy, and I'm like trying to push up London.
no. That
That's
was
hilarious.
classic. New
Yeah,
York will never be defeated.
no, it's listen. I am a New Yorker through and through. If you haven't heard yet from the accent, I'm a Brooklyn boy and I'm a New Yorker through and through.
Well,
Yeah,
listen, my London friends say, yeah, New York is London with an accent.
right. Exactly. Exactly. So you want city life, you want that. You want off the beaten path. I mean, the world is your oyster. I've experienced that in Peru. Machu Picchu. Let me tell you, Machu Picchu was one of the most magical experiences I ever had.
Why?
And
Why?
there was something about being on that mountaintop. And when you're and you get brought up by bus to a certain point, and then you just walk up some stairs, and it's all open and stuff like that. But as you're walking, and you reach the top, and then slowly in the next hilltop over, the city of Machu Picchu just kind of comes into focus, and you stand there and you just take it all in, and you're just like, how, how, how? It just blew my mind, and then it just opens you up to different cultures and different history. So Machu Picchu is this ancient city that was literally built on the hilltop, and mind you, the people at the time didn't have any of the modern technology how we did, and the whole city
Right. And they're
was
walking
pretty
over
much
this
built
little.
built by stone, and it's just like just the way it's placed geometrically, and how they had an irrigation system bringing water in, and people lived there for a long time. It's just so fascinating.
Now, when you
Um,
talk about civilization, I hear that river cruises are great for that. I think that river cruises, as opposed to ocean cruises, can take you into cities and where the civilization started, for God's sakes.
and
Eiffel
so if
Tower.
you if you think of the Nile in Egypt, right, and the way that expanded civilization, all helped expand all throughout Egypt
Right.
and beyond, and especially in a place like Europe. You do river cruises in Germany and in Austria and in Portugal, and you mentioned in France and all that. And they take you in. They take you into like the cool little towns and villages where life really happens. But even better, Christmas time.
Ah,
If you do a river cruise to the Christmas markets throughout Europe, is one of the most like memorable experiences you'll ever have. So if you've ever seen it, a river cruise is just like a long, slender, flat. They're really no more than maybe 2 floors. And so it's a much more intimate setting. It's not these big ocean cruises with 14 floors and 3,000 people on them, because it could only be so big to navigate through the rivers. Every room is an ocean front. I'm sorry, is a sea view, is a water view. Uh, and the dining experiences are much more intimate. If you want to, especially for solo travelers, if you want to talk about being in company and feeling safer and more accessibility to actually making friends and acquaintances, a river cruise is great. And river cruises used to be really stereotyped to be only of a certain age group, but they have them for everyone.
yeah.
Kids in their
And,
20s and 30s
I
are
can,
taking river cruise.
I can only imagine taking a river cruise and sitting on your little terrace and watching the world go by like it's a movie. Just sitting there like on
Just,
the
just
porch watching the
like
movie of the
like on a
world of
conveyor belt.
humanity.
It's just going by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
the
then you
most
stop off in
crucial
all these
parts
ports.
and the most crucial parts of humanity in each city because it's by the river banks where the culture started. The very beginning of culture, which a cruise ship can't get to, a train can't get to, your car can't get to, a plane can't get to.
Right.
So a river cruise is a very interesting invitation.
It's something that I see a lot of people do who maybe are have traveled already a bit and have done the major touristy places, and this is kind of like the next level of travel where they really
Yeah.
want to go in and dig in a little bit deeper and really immerse themselves. And it's the difference between seeing seeing the Colosseum and seeing all these great big huge archaeological sites and churches and cathedrals, and then going into these smaller cities and maybe seeing a small little chapel. You
Yeah.
know,
Seeing the
uh,
people washing the clothes and washing their vegetables by the river. And I don't know, it seems like that you get the heartbeat of the culture when you take a river cruise as opposed to some of the other ways that we travel.
it's definitely more immersive. It's slower paced, and it allows you to engage more in local culture.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
I would say one of my favorite places that I ever traveled solo to was um, Spain. Oh, I went to Madrid, Barcelona, Seville. I did the southern coast of Costa del Sol, they call it. So Malaga, Torremolinos, all these places. And there's just so much diversity in that country in terms of landscape, in terms of just, city life. And then, like we said, along the water, along the rivers, along the sea, is always a little bit more quiet and more quaint. It's been ranked one of the top safe destinations in Europe for, I'd say, almost the last decade.
Oh, wow. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to go to Spain. Give me some other places that you would suggest.
Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is a big destination too. I've seen for a lot of solo travelers. You mentioned Vietnam and Cambodia, and actually river cruising in Vietnam and Cambodia is huge because of just the landscape of the country and how it's broken up. It's very easy to get around. You have the floating markets, it's literally built around being on water predominantly. And so doing some sort of river cruising, and they have short ones. So you can tag on, 3 day on land, visiting one of the major cities, and then do a 3-night, 4-night cruise. People think that with cruises you're obligated to be entrapped on a vessel for a week, and that's not necessarily the case. Depending on the destination and the layout of the country, there are overnight river cruises, like up in Scandinavia too, which is also one of my favorite places. Was when I went to Sweden. And Scandinavia is also, always ranked for quality of life and safety. Crime is is I don't want to say non-existent, but I can't even tell you, what
There must not be a lot of Americans there.
Yeah, well, I mean, not yet, and they're actually pretty strict with their rules on tourism, and it's like, we thank you for visiting us. We welcome you, but you're in our home, and these are our rules. So take your shoes off.
Right. So just let me ask you this. If somebody is saying, "Boy, Rolonda, I've been listening to your podcast and I am going to take the plunge." Where would you suggest for the first time solo traveler?
Italy, and not because I'm biased.
Okay, well, you're Italian, and I get that. And I
Right.
love Italians. I'm Rolonda Waziano in some places. But I'm just saying.
South, below Rome, going down.
And that
So
means what? Because we're
that means
Americans, we don't
that
know
means
everything.
yeah, that means the Amalfi Coast. That means Sorrento, Positano. That means going down to Sicily, Calabria, Puglia, Basilicata, and those regions. Basically, from the kneecap of the boot down to the heel, and
Woo!
and Sicily as well too,
Good for
because the weather,
fall. Good for fall.
yeah, the weather's still amazing. You can get weather well into the 70s, even 80, all throughout in October and November. I've had family and friends still go to the beach in the beginning of November. Down in the Caribbean, right? I mean, we from New Yorkers, we love going down to the Caribbean.
And
It's a
where in
short
the
flight.
Caribbean? Where in the
I
Caribbean?
would, so you have the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, which are the most southern Caribbean islands. They're just above South America. Practically, you can see Venezuela, but they're out of the hurricane belt. So that's why they're at a 90%, uh, rate of they're busy almost all year long because of that. They're out of the hurricane belt in great weather. Well, I would say even here in the States, believe it or not, we have a lot of beauty here in the States. You mentioned Key West. The beaches might not be the greatest to your liking because of the sand.
They're a little rocky and they're a little short. I like longer beaches, but the water was turquoise and fabulous.
And how nice was the weather and the temperature, right?
Lovely, lovely.
And it's pretty much like taking Cape Cod or one of those little off the coast New England towns and putting it in the southernmost part of
And the
America.
food was so good. The seafood was so fresh, and the town was so quaint. There was lots of artwork, lots
Yeah.
of lots of wonderful museums and art galleries and little craft places to explore. That was really great.
But it's a good time of the year to explore Southern California, Arizona, and see the Grand Canyon. Vegas. Fun spots like that.
Sedona, Arizona is a good place if you're into spas and the spirituality and the vortex.
Yeah, if you don't mind being on the plane for a minute, I would say Southeast Asia, Thailand.
How long does it take to get there?
It was in the 19-hour mark.
Yeah.
18 to 19 hours.
17, 19, tomato, tomato.
But once you're on the plane for that long, an extra hour or two, it's absolutely amazing. But Thailand is literally known as the land of smiles. So it's totally safe. I mean, look, like any place in the world, even the most safest place, you still have to be careful and just watch yourself, male or female, and just be careful what you're carrying with you or going out too late at night, and try not to be flashy with your jewelry and stuff like that. So you always proceed with caution, but it's always more comforting to know you're going to a place that's known to be safer. And I would say, especially up in the countryside, Bangkok can sometimes be a little heavy like New York. But if you're going to Sukhothai, if you're going to Chiang Mai, if you're going to Phuket or Phi Phi Island or something like that, you can definitely enjoy that on your own, for sure. So I've had a lot of solo travelers celebrating 40, 50, 60, 70, retirement, all these things just by themselves. They're like, this is my treat to myself. I did it for myself for my 30th. I took myself on a Mediterranean cruise. I went to Greece and Turkey by myself.
Yeah.
Completely. And it was one of the most memorable trips I still take with me today, and I'll probably remember for the rest of my life.
Well, listen, Greece and Turkey, I recall, were on my solo travels. Greece and Turkey. I did Rome. I did Florence. I did so many places. And there are times I even look back in my 30s when I was traveling alone. I said, who was that girl? How did she do that? And that girl inspires me as this woman to continue.
She's still there.
She's still there. She's still there. And so you got to keep it going. As you so made the point, Aurelio, and I appreciate this so much, you have to do it. We never know what tomorrow is promised. And so to live this life, it should be gulped and not sipped.
That's 100%.
Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say?
I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to have this conversation with you on this amazing platform. Congratulations to you on this wonderful podcast and all of your amazing work. I'm so proud of you, friend. Thank you for being a supporter as well, always, of me and my business. And to anyone else listening, the world's waiting for you. They're waiting for you. Don't wait for anyone else. The world is waiting for you to come experience it and see it. So.
That's right. And if you want to experience the world, y'all, talk to Aurelio. Give him your info.
Yep. Request info at aceworldtravel.com. I'm on Instagram as ACE worldtravel.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, honey, and safe travels wherever you go.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now go out there and do something good.